君の奥に眠る記憶はどこに夢叶えるから忘れないで愛に狭メロディーボーイリアルな自分はちっとけなんかじゃないヘロリがリアルな孤独は君を強くするから今は踊りなよヘロリボーイ誰にもふさげぬ君だけの生きる道ヘロリが誰にもわからぬ明日の色それないでモンストならもう迷わない世界はいつだってこんなら待ってるから動かなくちゃハート錆びついちゃうね君の奥に眠る記憶はどこに夢叶えるから忘れないで愛されいる冬の風吹き飛ばすどこの風さあどこから取り戻そうヘロリボーイちっちゃなクエスチョンは自由の扉開くヘロリがちっちゃなトラブルで笑顔なくしちゃダメだよそれが幸せのせメディアの伝言は不安ばかりだけれど焦らないで好きなムーブ見せて君の奥に眠る記憶はどこに夢叶えるから忘れないで愛懐かしい曲の果て感じた魔法の雨その想いが君だけの愛
Hey, is this thing going? What's up, guys? It's been a bit. I need to do better. It gets me how I'm talking all this good shit about like being professional and trying to rebrand and all this other kind of stuff. But only for my immunocompromisation to keep me from being active. But we're gonna try, guys. We're gonna try. But how's everybody doing? As usual, life is life. Today we're gonna continue drawing emotes And by emotes, it's just one. And then from there, we'll see what we're gonna do. Because I honestly don't know. When I draw, I'm either like, I either have the zoomies, I either get the zoomies and I am speed, or it takes forever. But the sketching phase is pretty much done. So we'll see how this goes. But today we're gonna draw and talk about current events, because just to talk crap. Two of the subjects mainly being what recently happened with the shoujo, since that's what everybody in their mom is talking about right now. And other thing being the recent censorship that's been going on for the past couple of weeks with certain platforms concerning specifically Fansly and Ichio. Because like there's some things that some people aren't considering with both of these situations, and it's, well, not even with both of these situations. Well, no, there are some things that people aren't considering with both of these situations, and it's low key get on my nerves. Like, I don't know, but let's see. There's something that I need to. But the first thing, talking about a VShojo. For those who do not engage with VTubing content that much outside of watching the occasional streamer, for starters, thank you for having me as your form of entertainment. Because usually VTubers are watched by people who are really into it, but, or at least that's what I considered at one point. But every day I'm learning otherwise. But for those who aren't familiar, maybe if I size Dee Dee's head, like match Artemis's scale, then I could get a better crop. Part of the reason why I haven't continued on Cursed Savior's like calm is because like sizing their head. Cursed Savior, by the way, uses any pronouns. So I'll like be switching between they and he and she. Is because like this is a head-on emote. So I gotta like consider how this stuff is gonna fit. I think like having her head fit the whole screen works. I just also want to fit some of the body. But back to VShojo. So for those who don't know that much about VTubing is pretty much just a virtual version of typical Japanese idol culture. So if you're familiar with like idols and pop stars, and the sort of meet and greets, and you know, buying the tickets to hold somebody's hand for like 2 minutes and stuff like that, think that but virtual. Because VTubers, yes, it means virtual tuber, but it was pretty much just a digital advancement of existing idol culture in Japan. And what happened was, with that led, especially in COVID, where more people, well, COVID is still going on, but during the lockdown where people were required to be inside to mitigate COVID, it became more commonplace. You know, people had to be inside, and with that, people needed things to do and still needed sources of income. So like streaming became like really huge because of that. Program. We're gonna close it and come back. Hold on. Gonna close it and reopen it. Also, let me know if you can't hear me or if I sound quiet. But no, with that came VTuber companies that sort of function as talent agencies. Because yes, streaming is pretty much an indie thing. However, there are some benefits to joining a corporation, mainly with the management and advertising. Like, it's the same reason why. It's the same reason why music artists would join a record company instead of just being indie by themselves, because it takes a lot of work to not just make content but also have to advertise and market yourself and handle merchandise and all this other kind of stuff. Like, a lot of people talk about going indie but don't understand that because of the sort of capitalistic nature and what we have to go through to make money as content creators, that you're technically doing like 5 jobs just to make money off of one, really. And that could get annoying. So some VTubers join some VTubers join corporations because those corporations provide things like management and PR and stuff to help people manage their projects and just focus on creating. And for a while that seemed like a good idea, because there were several companies that ended up rising, like Hololive and Prism and Niji Sanji, and then there was an American-based VTuber agency company called Shoujo. And what made it stand out compared to the others is its quote-unquote creator first model, where I think this is fine. Is its quote-unquote creator first model where they wanted it where creators can keep their IPs, because what these agencies did was they usually created characters themselves, and you would only be hired to voice the characters. And of course you own your voice, but you wouldn't own the character and the branding itself. So let's say that somebody decides to leave the company, then that character would be permanently retired. The only exception that I could think of is Kizuna Ai, who is considered the first VTuber. She has a second voice actress, and that character is still performing, like it's still in circulation to this day, versus the others. And the reason why it's usually not typical to like change voices for a character is because like the voice is usually that's a part of the branding for the character. And with VTubing, there isn't like a script that people go by. It's usually very personal. So even if you were to get a voice actor that could replicate that voice, you wouldn't be able to replicate like who that person is, because they put their personal touch to it. This isn't like voice acting a cartoon character where there's a script and there's like a history that you could go off of to try to relate to. Like, people are putting their business and their personal experiences in it, even if they like have a sort of lore and stuff. Like, say Iron Mouse, right? Iron Mouse is her original character, but she talks about her experiences with disability and stuff. If Iron Mouse were to retire her character and give it to somebody else, that would be near impossible to like recreate that same experience, because like her disability is her own, And even if she manages to get a voice actor with the same condition, nobody experiences disability the exact same way, even if it is the same disability. But and that's sort of what makes vShojo, or what made vShojo like so out of the ordinary, because when somebody would leave a company, the character gets shut down because they don't own the character. But with vShojo, it's just like if you had a character before coming in here and you were like indie, because if you were from another corporation, they're definitely not going to give it to another corporation to make more money with it, right? But they were like, well, if you were indie starting out, then we'll just give you the money to just enhance your stuff. And then if we gave you a character, then if you want to leave, you could just keep your stuff. So maintaining creator control, because they essentially own the character anyways. Like, it's pretty much tied to their voice, to their mannerisms, to their lives. And then the other aspect of it was how creators didn't have to give up any of the money that they made from streaming, because that was also another contention for other VTuber companies. Like, the ad revenue that they would get, or the subs and the bits and stuff they would get, that would go to the company and then be redistributed to them as in the form of a paycheck, and it should be sustainable, but it's still just the fact that they don't get all of their money. vShojo's whole marketing shtick, or at least the other aspect of the marketing, was you get to keep all of your ad revenue and stuff, and the only money that we take away from you is through merchandising. So we get a cut of merch sales, and that's it. But then that brings up the question, yeah, vShojo could have had it all, but I feel like they couldn't have, because their business model was inherently sus. Because, like, my thing is, also, hey Luna, how's it going? My thing is, how do you get money to run a company on that business model? Because, like, if the only cuts you're getting is through merchandise, so you're not taking money from talents. Like, they were taking money from talents, which was a part of this whole controversy. Like, I'm breaking it down for folks who are, like, unfamiliar with the situation, because I got some people who watch my stuff but aren't VTubers and aren't into the culture. But it makes you wonder, where the hell are they getting the money to run operations from? Now, I have some theories, because, like, vShojo started in 2023, and, you know, during the earliest part of the pandemic, because the pandemic is still going on, there were a lot of grants and stuff given to start small businesses, and there were a lot of low interest loans that were being given out during that time. Yeah, it came out in 2020. So, like, at the beginning of the pandemic, or, like, at the earliest parts of the pandemic. Like, a lot of banks were giving out low interest loans, and the government was giving out a lot of grants and stuff to help with starting small businesses at that time. So they could have started by getting a lot of money that way to jumpstart vShojo. And that could have been where they had the money, where they could think that they could only take a cut from merchandise only without having to worry about money eventually. Does Zeddy have earrings in it? Because I'm barely drawing any of their clothes, because it's like, their body is barely there. Like, I'm fairly certain they had like a spider earring, because it's hard to see in this illustration. I love I love Artemis's artwork. The character sheet that I'm using is from Artemis. Yeah, he didn't pass the fad and stuff, because like it's one thing if vShojo was say something that so there is an earring. I know it was like a little spider or something, so I'll just draw that. Trigger word for anybody who has like arachnophobia. But ooh, Blaze Up would not be able to make it in this stream. But but what was I thinking? It was something that I'm kind of weirded out that no company has considered. Like, why aren't there any VTubing companies from companies like Sony, for example? Because I think that Sony may be able to make it off of that model to an extent, because like it's a tech company, and well, it's a tech company, right? So it would be providing its own equipment, and it's a tech and entertainment company. It's based in Japan, but it also has an American branch. Or another thing, why haven't other companies that are already existing talent agencies also expand to like VTubing and stuff? Because it would make sense for those companies to do something like that, because they already have other sources of income. With vShojo being a company that starts from scratch and doesn't really have anything else going for it, like it doesn't have any subsidiaries, and from what I know, they don't have any like stocks and bonds. They don't have any other sources of income that we know of to be able to sustain itself. Okay, I feel like I filled this as much as possible. Like, that's the tricky thing when it comes to emotes. Like, is this fine? Like, I'll like fill in the background to show how many gaps there's gonna be. Yeah, these corpos don't do things that have risk, because like you're not supposed to be taking a risk this big. Yeah, the EM VTuber scene isn't like Japan. But then even the Japan ones are messing up, because but then it's not like pay related though. So it just makes me wonder what their business model is. Or at least from what I know. Actually, no. Because I remember something about Niji Sanji messing up pay-wise. Because, like, I remember Ceylin leaving because of stuff like her having to pay out of pocket when it came to the art competitions. Has an established idol scene, and they can promote their VTuber talent through the idol. Yes, but it's also like, where's the money coming from? Like, they have to have money before they create a talent agency if it started from scratch. Because it's one thing if it was like a well-established idol company just branching, like an idol company that already has like models and superstars and stuff, and then they just have a subsidiary that focuses on VTubing. But like, we've been seeing corpos that are solely focused on VTubing. Like, they're not a branch or anything that focuses on that, starting from scratch. And a lot of them keep messing up, whether that's with mismanagement in general or worker misconduct. But the biggest thing being paid. Because I remember when Niji Sanji was like under fire for not paying for not giving, who was it, Ceylin the money to pay people for one of the artist competitions that she was hosting. She had to pay that out of pocket. And then one could say that there's like no obligation for pay, because technically, at least as far as vShojo is concerned, I don't know about the other companies, the talent are considered independent contractors. When it comes to labor laws and obligations to pay people, it more so protects employees than contracted folks. And that sort of brings up the question of like a couple of things. Because two of the main things that I really want to talk about. Do you think this is too much white space for the emote? Because usually whenever I see emotes, they like fill most of the page. Like, for example, this is the most recent emote that I've done with Artemis. And it helps that like she has big ass hair. So I could cheese it a bit. And then I don't know if, or I should ask Dee Dee. Okay. I should probably also ask Dee Dee. Like, get some feedback real quick. Is this nigga awake? She was asleep last time. Or not during the stream, but like she was asleep earlier today. And I'm like, please wake up. Still awake. I need feedback. Okay, see you in a few. Okay. How does the emote look? I did like fill in the background to see how much empty space would that be. Is this fine? Or do you think I should enlarge it a bit more? Because the only issue is like possibly cutting out. Now, how do you think the sizing is? Is the sizing okay? Do you think there's like too much white space and I should try to expand it? Oh, is the music too loud? Okay, can you hear me now? Dee Dee, can you hear me now? Okay, that's ample enough space. Okay. Gotcha. Then I'll start online work. That's all I needed. But if you want to stay in, that's fine. But pretty much I was just talking about the vShojo thing. Like I pretty much just, I could see the chibi instead on just the face, so I appreciate that. Yeah. Instead of just the face. Yeah, cause with me I usually just do the face, but I know that it's more standard with VTuber chibis to include some of the body. So I tend to ask. I'll say, hey Luna. But the 2 points that I want to bring up, you know, in response to the vShojo thing, because like there are some things that are high-key pissing me off, like how people are in response to vShojo issues is just like, this is why indie is better and da 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 da. And I can't necessarily say that I agree, because yes, we shouldn't trust corporations to have our best interests at heart. But like a lot of people who say that they prefer indie more, it feels like lip service, because whenever an indie VTuber brings up something like pay, it's a problem. Like, have you noticed that talking about paying performers to perform, regardless of the size or whatever they are, it's treated as really taboo? Like the amount of times that I've heard or I've seen VTubers on Twitter like be dragged through the mud for saying, hey, stop telling me that I shouldn't be worried about views and stuff, when the amount of views affects the amount of money that I make. And then a bunch of people like jump them and say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be putting all your your eggs in one basket, and your audience members aren't pay pigs and they're not obligated to pay you." But then somebody like Iron Mouse talks about how VTubing saved her life and it gave her an employment opportunity because she is disabled, right? And there's a lot of discrimination against disabled people in workspaces because they don't want to make accommodations. And streaming is one of the few occupations that gives disabled people the opportunity to like work and be accommodated. But the thing is, it's not a stable or surefire form of employment unless you're already popular. And like people applaud, and this isn't to like shit on Iron Mouse or anything, because she's simply talking about her experiences. But like there's a huge difference in how somebody like Iron Mouse, who is already well established and famous and stuff, gets treated for depending on VTubing to provide for her versus somebody who isn't on that level yet. Like people only agree that you have to get paid and that you should be able to make a livelihood off of VTubing if you are already successful. It's like how rich people aren't like yelled at for wasting money, for quote unquote wasting money, even though they literally hold control of the wealth while people are starving. But then if a poor person wastes money, then it's just like, how dare you spend money on yourself to have fun or whatever. You should have been more responsible. And one could argue, well, the rich person has money to be irresponsible because they don't have to struggle and whatnot. But like how they're successful in the first place is by taking stuff from others. Now, of course, when it comes to like people who work in entertainment, it's not the same because they still have to work to live. But it's just like you are less likely to yell at, say, a football player or an actor for having a $2,000 purse than you are to yell at like somebody who has to ride the bus every day for having a $2,000 purse. So like whenever people talk about how indie is superior and that more VTubers should go indie, it pisses me off because in order for VTubers to go indie and for that to be sustainable, you have to be willing to put money in people's mouths. The reasons why VTubers choose corporations in the first place is because with a corporation, they're guaranteed a salary. Right? This isn't them having to work to become popular enough to get paid. They are automatically guaranteed pay. Because like I once got into it with a friend who talked about a corporation VTuber that she liked. I think she was into Mori Calliope at the time. And she was just like, oh, I like this VTuber compared to like all of the e-thoughts and stuff who's always asking for money. And then I look her up and I see she's a part of a corporation because I'm fairly certain that Mori Calliope is a part of HoloLive, right? And like that didn't sit right with me because Mori is getting paid a salary. Like she doesn't have to ask her audience for money because she's already guaranteed pay. Oh, you just got back from the ads. I'm sorry. I was talking about how whenever people say that indie is superior to corporations and that more VTubers should go indie, I call bullshit on that because the whole reason why VTubers choose corporations in the first place is because that's the only way that they're guaranteed to get paid for their work. They don't have to depend on being popular to get paid because they're hired, whether as an employee or an independent contractor, and pay is guaranteed. And the problem is these people who say they like indie, they don't want to put food in people's mouths. Because like I once got into it with a friend about Maury Calliope. This is before we found out about some of the issues with Maury Calliope. But she said, "Oh, I like Maury Calliope because she's not like these e-thoughts who are always asking for money from their viewers." And then I look her up and I find out that she's with a corporation. And my thing is, why would she ask money from her viewers when, like, two things when it comes to corporate VTubers. They don't ask their audiences for money. It's usually like against their contracts to ask their viewers for money because they're not supposed to. They're getting paid a salary. They're getting paid a salary. So like that's like me asking for tips when I work at a museum. Right, that wouldn't be allowed. And it's not even just a contract thing. Because I'm being paid a salary, I wouldn't be asking for extra money. But if somebody wants to give me a love offering, that'd be great. But yeah, a company provides stability. You can't rely on viewers to sustain you. If I could do this on salary, oh boy, that would be great. Yeah, that's exactly why that's why VTubers join corpos in the first place. But like, they're not supposed to ask for money because that's against their contract and stuff. Because from the company standpoint, we're already paying you. So like when you're begging for money, it makes it look like we're not paying you. You know? And because it makes them look bad. But so like propping her up as like this great person just because she isn't doing something that's against her contract and something that she shouldn't be doing anyway because she's already being provided for. I don't like that, especially when, and then if an indie VTuber does ask for money, I'm not gonna be mad at them because like I've posted this on Twitter a couple of times that if people want me to dedicate my life towards making art and making content, I'm gonna have to get paid. Like right now, yes, I do VTubing, but I work part-time as an education assistant at I work part-time as an education assistant at a museum, and I'm a student. Like I'm an art student. And compared to VTubing, those two obligations come first because those two things make more money for me. Like those things are providing for me right now. As much as I love my viewers and I love my followers and stuff, I can't devote my life to creating. And it's not even just like creating for y'all, like creating for myself. I don't have a lot of free time towards myself. So I don't even always create the art. I don't always have the time to create the art that I want to make for myself. Because like between working and school and even being immunocompromised because I'm tired and shit. I'm not creating as much in general. It's like congratulating someone for not asking for a house and you find out they own a mansion. Yeah, exactly. Like that person is taken care of. They shouldn't be asking for shit anyways. But like, God forbid if the homeless person asks for some spare change, then it's a problem. No, even though I love you guys, I'm not going to like if I have to choose between work and school and VTubing, I'm gonna choose work and school because that's what's paying my bills right now. And that's why I really dislike the people should go indie and da because a lot of these folks who say that aren't gonna put food in VTubers' mouths for them to go indie and dedicate their lives towards entertaining people. They're not. They're not about that action. And then the other aspect of it, something that I forgot. Something else that I forgot. I need VTubers to start unionizing. I feel like I once talked about it in a group chat before, and then a bunch of people were like, "Oh, we don't have leverage, and I'm just gonna focus on my content." But then every time Twitch like messes us over with monetary stuff, niggas be complaining. So it's just like you keep complaining about the company taking stuff from you, and and you want, like, my thing is, if you think that your content doesn't have any value to be getting paid for to unionize, then you shouldn't be complaining about Twitch and YouTube taking away your pay. And I feel like people at minimum, like if you have affiliate and partner and stuff, at minimum you should consider unionizing, because it's like we're independent contractors, and maybe the models that we should be considering are like the monetization models that we should be considering are like well, no, the unionization models is like stuff akin to SAG-AFTRA and the Animation Guild and stuff, because like actors and what is it, actors and animators and other folks in entertainment are considered independent contractors. I can't wait till the full album for Panty and Stocking comes out, because I really like Teddy Lloyd's stuff. Like, I haven't been watching the newer episodes. But no, like, if, like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't understand how people can complain about the state of things, but then when you try to post solutions, people don't have self-esteem. Like, either you have worth or you don't. Yeah. Because, like, I feel like as soon as you start making money from being a VTuber, like, as soon as you make affiliate, you should start. A lot of people are scared of losing their jobs when it comes to unions. That's fair, because a lot of jobs hate unions. However, unionization can become a standard if everybody just does it. Because at the end of the day, they can't fire everybody. They still need a certain amount of people to run things. I live in an anti-union state. That's the number one reason for anti-union behavior amongst workers. Yeah, because I also think that it depends on the occupation as well, because like stuff like construction and whatnot, they got unions in pretty much every state, and they're really active. But then when it comes to say teachers and stuff, there used to be a teachers union, but that's been busted. Like there's like a you have to ask the state for permission to unionize. Cause I remember when I used to work as a tutor at a high school, and like I heard the teachers complaining, and I'm like, what's stopping y'all from unionizing? And they were like, we gotta ask the state for permission. And like it still kind of pissed me off because it's just like I wouldn't be asking the state for shit. But lately, partially because of the stuff with COVID, because like teachers, they're tired, right? They already don't get paid to be here, and then they have to deal with sick kids on top of that, right? So it's like annoying. So like a lot of them have been going on strike with the school district or in the town that I live in. So it's like in the city that I live in. So at this point, it's just like, what's stopping y'all? I feel like y'all aren't mad enough. Like, I don't know. If you can go on strike, then you can form a union. I don't know if the teachers ended up winning with that strike, though, because I'm not a part of that school district. So I can't remember the results. I wasn't following it too closely because I've been going through other shit. IRL. So I'm not going to be paying attention to everything. But it's just something to consider, right? But yeah, I really think that VTubers should try to consolidate and stuff, especially with the recent happenings going on with different companies not treating their workers well. And I do think we have leverage. Like, Iron Mouse is one of the highest earning streamers on Twitch alone. And then seeing the amount of money that VTubers were able to raise in order to make that goal with the Immunodeficiency Foundation. Because for those who don't know, because I didn't mention that, the biggest reason why VShojo is going through the shit that it is was because Iron Mouse revealed that the company didn't give the money that was promised to the Immunodeficiency Foundation. This is an organization that she has always supported throughout her career because she is immunocompromised and stuff. And with her subathon, half of that money was supposed to be going to that foundation, and VShojo didn't give it because of like stuff with them struggling financially and not filing bankruptcy and whatnot. And that's a shitty move, of course. But it's just like, folks, I think she made a Tiltify in order to re-raise that money. And I think it ended up making that goal twice over. So like, and it just took about 2 days to make that goal. So look at what VTubers were able to do as a community, and look at what Iron Mouse did herself, because this is due to her influence. So to say that VTubers don't have any leverage to unionize, I think that's foolish and a show of low self-esteem, but we'll see. I do hope that the girls file a class action lawsuit, because it wasn't just them. It wasn't just VShojo stealing charity money, but not paying people in general. And because it's so many people that haven't been paid, I think they would qualify. I'm not a lawyer, by the way, and I'm definitely not giving them law advice. I don't do that. I'm an artist who works in education, so that is not my field. However, typically when a large group of people get screwed over, that makes them qualify for a class action lawsuit, because it shows that there's a pattern, and it's technically more efficient than doing individual lawsuits because legal fees in general are expensive. and stuff. And then what each person gets out of the lawsuit depends on like the level or how gratuitous the mistreatment they face as an individual. But like if it's the same category of BS, then they can all sue collectively. And I hope they do it, cause fuck V Shoujo. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about, another major thing that has happened on the internet this week, is so Ichio has started to censor NSFW content, and I really don't like how the discourse is going, because like I don't like how people are hyper fixating on the porn being banned. Like, I actually find that annoying, because like that wasn't the only thing that got banned. Like, I get it, you're a gooner and you're upset, but like folks are just focusing on the fact that they like bam. I couldn't even find a damn article. But Ichio, which is a website known for, actually, what was it originally for? Like, it's a shop. It's not like Ko-Fi, and it's definitely not like VGen. Okay, so pretty much it was a site made to help find indie games and stuff, and it's still a site. Like, it's still working, right? And recently they have changed their terms of service to like disallow NSFW content. And something that I wish that more people would talk about when it comes to NSFW content, it's not just porn, guys. Like, if you watch a Die Hard movie, that's considered NSFW content because of the graphic violence being depicted. If you watch John Carpenter's The Thing, that is also NSFW content, because even though there are no dick and balls being shown, people are getting their heads ripped off and stuff. Like, NSFW also includes violence. Cause when I was on Blue Sky, I actually asked that you know how on Blue Sky you're required to put like a content label on your stuff to like warn people, because if it's like suggestive or adult content, because I'm very much somebody who promotes being able to choose when you want to see something, because even though I like to look at dick and balls on the internet, I don't want to look at it all the time, and I don't want to accidentally see it while I'm scrolling at work, because people don't want to tag their stuff. So like, and Blue Sky operates on under that same model. Pretty much you have to label your content, and people can have filters over whether or not they want to see it. But then I also thought, I'm a horror fan, but that doesn't mean that I want to see somebody's arm get ripped off all the time. So I like ask moderation, because like you could go and suggest features and stuff, and I'm like, why don't we have a content label for like gore and stuff? And then they recently added it. And so yeah, in this NSFW ban, it wasn't just like lewd content that got affected, because I think Fear and Hunger got affected. And yeah, there's nudity in Sex and Fear and Hunger, but it would have gotten banned anyways, because Fear and Hunger is a grimdark game. Like, for those who don't know what that game is, think of Dungeon Meshi, but if the dungeon hated you. Like, I remember somebody describing it as that, and that's stuck in my head ever since. And I don't like it. Like, even though I support content regulation, I'm like very particular about it. I don't think that there should be blanket bans on something. And then if you do have a blanket ban on something, then you shouldn't have made money from it in the first place. That's why I'm like supportive of, say, Ko-Fi not having NSFW allowed because they've never made money off of NSFW. Like they've had their website be like that since day one. But I'm against that one time when OnlyFans tried to get rid of NSFW content, because it's just like, even though OnlyFans wasn't always centered around that, it's the fact that what made it really big in the first place during the pandemic was pornography, and then after they've made all of their money, then they want to abandon that user base. I don't like that. And then the other thing that I don't like is like the specific things being labeled as like inappropriate and stuff. I don't like that furries are being targeted. Like, I'm not a furry, but I'm a monster fucker, so I have some solidarity with them. And I don't like how um furries are being targeted. Because yeah, they're weird, but for the most part they try to curate their spaces and stuff. Like, they're violently against stuff like, say, zoophiles and stuff. Like, if anything, I would say that the furry community has more of a Nazi problem than a zoophile problem. Like, a zoophile is more likely to get kicked out than a Nazi. And that's like one of those mixed bag things, because it's just like, it's great that you're getting rid of one type of shitty person, but can you get rid of all of them, please? No? Okay. But it's like, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Leave the furries alone. And then, but the thing that I don't like about the conversations with Ichio, because I've been talking about it on Twitter, is like the lack of nuance with it. Because like, what's kind of annoying me is how people are sort of reducing the censorship of NSFW to just purity culture. Because like, Lena, we've had this conversation before about my stances on like purity culture, because I feel like people are using it as a buzzword. I feel like people are using it as a buzzword because there's this misconception that purity culture is like anti-sex, when no, that's not how it has functioned historically. Like, it's not the Puritans. Like, Puritans aren't anti-sex. Anybody who's like actually been in church or has been in like those oppressive religious environments would know that sex is often used to oppress marginalized people, especially women and children. So like, when somebody is like being anti-sex, they're definitely not Puritan. There's something else entirely. But when it comes to these NSFW bans, there are some aspects of, say, right-wingers using it to like ruin livelihoods. It's very anti-sex work. Although in the case of Ichio, I need people to stop equating it with like the attacks on sex work, because NSFW artists are not sex workers. Like, you are not selling ass. You're selling pictures of ass that aren't even yours. They're drawn. Like, I hold the quote-unquote attack on NSFW artists in the same regards as, like, say, directors not being allowed to make stuff. You're fine. Like, you're not fine because your livelihood is being destroyed, but you're definitely not in the same boat as sex workers. But But what was I thinking? There's like some of the talking points I don't like. Like, people are like, oh, this is a Trojan horse to censor queer content. I definitely don't like that because I work in education and I work in a conservative state. Because, like, guys, queer content has been censored way before this ban. Like, something that really annoys me is the amount of people that only care about queer censorship when it's just NSFW related. Like, right wingers do not need to label your content as pornography in order to keep you from being gay. Because if you care anything about children and what's been going on in education spaces, you would know that there's already been schools doing book bannings on stuff depicting queer relationships. And, like, it's gotten so bad. There was a school district in my state that managed to ban a children's book. Well, no, I feel like people know that something is bad. It's just that they pick and choose what to care about when it's bad. Because I'm like, where was the outrage when, with these schools, like, banning the use of pronouns and stuff? Like, there are laws in certain states making it legal to misgender a student. I put this on the wrong layer. Or I remember how, like, I think it was New York or Chicago that started targeting, what's the word? Not streakers. What's it called when two gay niggas have a booty call in the middle of the woods? Is it streaking? And somebody was just like, oh, because, like, police officers are starting to go after streakers because that's considered public indecency. And I'm not a fan of public sex because, especially when it comes to stuff like parks and hiking trails and stuff, like, it's one thing if you're hiking and you're in a tent, because I can't bother you while you're in your tent. But if you're near the trail, you're inconsiderate. I don't like you. But it's like, some people are like, oh, this is a step towards banning trans people and queer people from public life. And I'm like, queer people are already being banned from sports and bathrooms. And that's been going on way before the banning of streaking, guys. Like, why is it that y'all only care about queerness being banned when it's sex related? Like, why does sex have to be attacked for y'all to get mad when folks aren't even allowed to go take a piss in the bathroom or go play a sport or have their pronouns respected in their place of education? Like, that's what's pissing me off. Like, how people are like, the censorship of NSFW is a Trojan horse. They've been banning gay stuff. It's been going on. Why do you care now? Like, it's very backwards to me. And I don't like it because, like, these same people crap on children and crap about and complain about how, oh, the government is trying to make everything for kids. The government does not care about children. The children were the first ones to be attacked. Before your Yowie Dojin got taken off of Patreon, even though Patreon still allows NSFW, but I'm just throwing it out there because who knows, they might be next. I don't know. I'm scared. Before your Yowie Dojin from Patreon got attacked, like, Florida made it legal for a parent to be able to seek asylum by taking their kid if they're trans, so they can, like, convert them and stuff. Where were you? Like, it seems like people only care about censorship when it's affecting their spank material, and it's annoying. And then another aspect, right? Let's talk about censorship in general, because, like, let's talk about racial discrimination in stuff like publishing and education. Nobody gives a crap about like critical race theory being banned from schools and then anything being labeled as critical race theory either. And then if we're going to bring up publishing, let's talk about how these publishing companies are like canceling contracts with minority authors. Like ever since that DEI bill was passed, and even a little bit before that, it's like they already knew that it was coming up, and they were just giving up on minority authors because they likely already knew, and they're like, well, since we already know, and we're not obligated to promote minorities anymore, then why be bothered? You know, so many minority authors have lost contracts and have lost promotion with publishing companies for their work. And people aren't in a tizzy about that. Like, I dislike the rhetoric that censoring NSFW is a Trojan horse for other forms of censorship because the other censorship was already happening. But you didn't care. I'm not saying that none of it is bad, because all of it is bad, right? Because I don't like how payment companies are the ones who determine what's considered safe content or not. I do think that it should be at the will of the community, because I do think that certain content should be regulated. Another thing that people don't consider is that part of the reason why media is being censored, at least NSFW, is because it's a legal liability. Like there's been some recent class action lawsuits, since we were talking about class action lawsuits, that's been going on with like victims of trafficking and stuff, and they've been suing some of these sites for hosting videos of their abuse for entertainment. And these companies don't want to pay money in legal fees, guys. They also don't want to pay money to like properly moderate these sites, so this isn't a common occurrence either, which is also terrible. But like a case can be made that aside from being prudes, because people think that that's like oh, if you want this stuff gone, then you must be a prude. No, they don't want to pay money to keep people safe, and they also don't want to pay money as like a consequence of not keeping people safe. And people need to consider that. And that's why it's important to have really good moderation systems ahead of time. Like the only website that I think of that actually puts in a concerted effort towards keeping its user base safe is Inkblot, which is Inkblot is an art website, and like it was created sort of as I'm gonna have to just draw it. It was created as a sort of replacement for DeviantArt, because DeviantArt has become terrible as an artist site, right? It's become terrible as an artist site. It's not great because it's like supporting AI and junk. And even though they added a feature where you can opt out of AI feeding, you shouldn't have had to like manually opt out of that. And then now they have it where you have to manually opt in after people ask, but they shouldn't have considered that in the first place. Among other things, like whenever people try to make replacement artist sites, there's like a huge issue with trying to connect clients to artists, because so many of these new artist apps like Artful and stuff, they're not great. They end up becoming sites for artists only. And like the whole point of artists using social media is to not just hang out with each other, but to connect themselves to clients. Inkblot was made with that client artist connection in mind, and they have a really good comprehensive TOS about like what content is and isn't allowed, and they do dedicate a lot of their energy towards moderating content. Like, for example, they sort of operate like Blue Sky, where it's required to tag lewd content, but specifically with Inkblot, you have to have a minimum of like 3 tags. Like, not only do you label it as NSFW, but you have to have 3 tags minimum, because just because somebody wants to see NSFW doesn't mean that they want to see the exact kind that you're posting. And I think that's great because that helps people to better curate their spaces. Because like a lot of people talk about sexual liberation and the ability to express oneself, but one aspect of sexual liberation is the ability to abstain from it if you don't want to be bothered. Like, the freedom from sex is just as important as the freedom to do sex, you know? And I think that they do a lot of work towards that. But one aspect that should be brought up, Inkblot also has, they're in the process of updating their website, but it's slow because they don't have a lot of staff. And another thing is that it's completely user funded. So it's sort of like Archive of Our Own, where it's subjected to the users because they're providing for it. They're not trying to use ads and stuff, because that does put you at the mercy of companies. Another aspect that I think about when it comes to talks about censorship in social media is that if you don't want websites subject to companies, then you have to be able to provide what companies are providing for these websites. And most of that is funding. Like, people often bring up the Tumblr porn ban and how that's terrible and stuff. And in a lot of ways it was terrible, because the blanket ban, it ended up like messing with other types of content, like health related content. There were some trans pages, and it was technically NSFW because it had nudity. But those specific pages, it wasn't like pornographic or anything. It was just, you know, doing stuff like showing the stages of transition for educational purposes. Pages that were promoting breastfeeding and stuff got banned. Like, the blanket ban sucked. However, one thing that I remember was when Tumblr was like in the process of being bought by Yahoo, and then a bunch of users were like, oh my god, it's going to be owned by a company and it's no longer going to be like our little fandom haven because it's going corporate. So let's make this website as unusable as possible to make it unmarketable. And I'm like, that's all noble and junk, guys. However, the reason why it's like being bought out is because obviously the site can't run on itself. It needs money. And this goes back to like the VTubing thing. Like, everybody wants indie stuff. Everybody wants stuff that's up to the control of the community and not to companies. But are you going to put food in people's mouths to make stuff run? Because if you're not, then you don't have a foot to stand on. Like, too many people want something for nothing. But then they have the nerve to call themselves a community, where it's just like, in order to be in a community, you have to contribute something. And I say this to an extent, because I say this to an extent because, like, once we bring up things like, say, disability and whatnot, we don't want to call people useless eaters and stuff, because that's ableist, and not everybody can quote unquote provide. But it's also like, when it comes to a social media site in particular, when it comes to a social media site in particular and what it takes to make things function, like that's one of those things where there is an input output thing. Content moderation and coding and all this other kind of stuff are forms of labor, and people have bills, and you can't just be expecting voluntary labor, especially when it comes to social media moderation and entertainment. You just can't suspect that and then think that things are going to be sustainable. Like, we complain about living in a capitalist society all the time, but then all of a sudden we think that it doesn't apply when it comes to stuff that makes our neurons fire off. And I feel like that's lame and that's inconsiderate. And that's what leads to these problems. But that's pretty much how I feel about these current topics. Let me save this. Like, my rant is over. But other things to talk about. My coworker recently introduced to me a new album. Like, I like my coworkers and stuff. They're very nice, and it's a varied environment. And one thing that was funny, one of my peers, her name is Baby Blue Arts. She's a VTuber as well, and she's like a TV head VTuber. Her grandma, we know each other because I know her grandma who works at my job. And how we ended up talking to each other about VTubing was like, her grandma was just like, hey, my coworker is into this kind I need to edit the thickness specifically for line variation. Like I need to fix the thickness of stuff. I realized I made the neck too long. We're gonna pray. Maybe if I move this a little bit, it didn't matter. Neck and maybe the clothes. Look at Dee Dee's outfit. Whenever I'm being technical, sometimes I just lock on to that. But what else to talk about? Ugh. One of my coworkers is pregnant, actually. And then I need to buy a hard drive because one thing that I plan to get her before she like leaves and junk is a hard drive with different different with a bunch of baby shows. Because, like, a lot of the baby shows right now are shit. And I think that her child deserves better than, like, lame stuff like Coco Melon. Like, I'm gonna put some new stuff on there. Because there's the good new stuff like Gracie's Corner and Tiny Chef and Bluey. Like Bluey and Tiny Chef and Gracie's Corner, and then the rest of it is just editing thickness. But I'll also have like some goodies, like some oldies but goodies, like Sesame Street. I like this album. It's this band called Wet Leg. I did not know what they were until now, but it's a sound that I'm familiar with. What other things that I want to put on? Y'all know about Superwoman? Cause like, okay, I just think about, since we were talking about censorship earlier, I'm very worried about kids. Because like at least adults, you know, they can speak for themselves for the most part. Like it still sucks that adult related things are being censored, but it's just like we have a lot more agency. I think about how NPR and PBS are dealing with cut funding. And that's why I'm sort of the way that I am when it comes to like that outrage about NSFW being censored, because it's just like PBS is being robbed right now. Did I already play this? This album has played twice. I'm so sorry, guys. And the reason why they're losing funding right now is because of quote unquote wokeness. Like, let's talk about the fact that, remember when I said that right wingers don't have to like use it's quote unquote inappropriate for children to ban something? Like, way before all of that, they're like, oh, they're teaching people to be woke, or this is woke propaganda. And you know, that's used as a dog whistle for just promoting minority acceptance, right? It's the fact that simply calling something woke, or that, oh, this thing has a positive view of minorities, is enough to justify like the banning of something. But please tell me how the banning of NSFW is a slippery slope to banning other things, when like that's not true. They usually ban other stuff first. The black people are the first to go. Like, I don't know, man. And it's just like, well, they call black stuff obscene and stuff. And that is true, but that's only one aspect of it. They don't do that all the time to ban it. And that's like what's frustrating. Like, people only care about minority repression if it's only like showing one aspect of it, when it's just like there's different forms. It's not all gonna show up the same way, and you should care about it even if it doesn't show up the same way, because it all has the same end goal. You know, I like NPR and I like Tiny Desk. Specifically Tiny Desk, because I really don't deal with NPR with other stuff. Because like I got introduced to a lot of cool artists due to NPR's Tiny Desk performances. Like Duran Bernard, who's an R&B singer. I got to know his music through NPR Tiny Desk. Because he had a performance with the Tiny Desk concert, and he dressed up as Uncle Bobby from the Proud Family, because he had his band dressed up as characters from the Proud Family. His band is called Tides and Offerings, and I think that's cute. Well, I think it's funny, not cute. These are grown ass adults. Because this shit was good. Actually, we'll listen to some Duran Bernard right now. I usually listen to City Funk and Future Funk, like City Pop and Future Funk. And I keep getting the words mixed up, even though they're not the same. Like City Pop is like 80s music, Future Funk is more 70s. But I wonder if there are like recordings of Tiny Desk performances. Nah, it's just music from it. Damn. And it's only like specific groups who have done recordings of it. Damn. Cause like colors. I'm looking for the music right now. Like the specific songs that was played in that set. Okay, somebody made a playlist. Fine. Um fine. Oh no, man. I do not know the lyrics as much as I think I know. Do not listen to me. But I like the music. Cause remember I said that I listen to a variety of music. I just tend to listen to city pop and future funk on stream because I know that's energetic. A lot of the songs that are like that are copyright free. It matches my visual vibe, so that's like strengthening my brand on top of that. It strengthens my brand on top of that. And it's just fun to listen to, and I usually listen, but I listen to a variety of music whenever I like draw because like it's more like a mood thing. Because during Halloween, was I drawing any spooky stuff? No, I was just playing spooky stuff because it matched the theme. You know, I think the line work for this is fine. I need to rearrange some of the things about the face, like the brow. Same thickness as the puff. I need to make the horn line art thicker. But what was I thinking? Like one time during Halloween, I played a bunch of like industrial music and goth rock. You know, to go with the theme. Yeah, when I add the outline to this, it'll be fine.
We both want the same thing, and even got it too. Fuck what everyone thinks. It's just me and you. No need for a disclaimer. I'm no saint and you're no angel. Snatch it, baby. Your mind's in need of a vacation. Let it go down the road with ease. And won't say that you can trust me. If it's true, then you will see. I'm all about trust, babe. No, you're not used to having company over. So let me sing a little lullaby. When I get in, I'ma help you with your
For
mind.
anybody who is still listening and who isn't like lurking right now, would anybody care if I did like a karaoke stream? I like to sing sometimes. I definitely wouldn't call myself a singing VTuber. That is not primarily my content.
No, you're not used to having company over. So let me sing a
I
little
have considered
lullaby.
doing some covers
When I
and
get
stuff,
in, I'ma
especially
help you
of some
with
of the
your
songs from the new Hades game. Um, because one of the enemies that do show up are C theme and they sing.
used to having company over. So let me sing a little lullaby. When I get in, I'ma help you with your mind. No, you're not used to having company over. So let me sing a little lullaby. When I get in, I'ma help you with your mind.
Let me say it.
Sing you a lullaby. Oh yeah, alright. I'm gonna sing you a lullaby, and I'm gonna make you feel alright. Did you smoke today? Have you yet put something on your stomach? Did the snack hit again already? If not, get ready, 'cause it's coming. Did you smoke today? Have you yet put something on your stomach? Did the snack hit again already? If not, get ready, 'cause it's
I
coming.
just realized I don't like this specific recording. I like one of the things that can be a bit frustrating about getting into a new artist, especially if you get into them through a specific performance. Sometimes you like that specific performance better than like the recorded version. Like a big example is me liking Dochi's version of Persuasive, specifically when she performed on Jimmy Fallon.
Have you yet put something on your stomach?
Let's see. Save. I'll save and then I'll work on something else. But no, I was like I've been into Dochi since Spooky Coochie, which came out I think 2018 or was it 2019? And I was into the recorded version. I don't think she did a live version of that because I think it's too inappropriate for like live TV. Yeah, that came out in 2019. And then she came out with Yucky Blucky Fruitcake in 2020, and that's when most people got into her. And then from there, I remember her having a color show where she sung Stressed, and then she started to perform at stuff from Jimmy Fallon to the BET Awards. I think there was like a Women's Entertainment Award or something of the like that she performed at, I think. And she did like a jazz rendition of, usually with her performances it was like Persuasive and Crazy and maybe another song, but it was usually Persuasive and Crazy. But I love the Jimmy Fallon rendition of Persuasive. I love the bass line. um I love the bass line. I'll do this Office Siren project. It's been a while since I've been on this. Plus, I was supposed to be working on the. I need to change. I'm gonna redo the. I'm gonna change the 3D model because I've changed my. One of the things that I'm going to do in the future, not right now, but at some point, is at some point I'm going to update my live 2D model to be more body accurate because I'm kind of, to be honest, I feel like I may not have to change entirely like the sketching and stuff of it, because like my live 2D model is more accurate to how I'm built than my character sheet. Because like if you look at my live 2D model, not my why am I saying live 2D? I'm not balling. If you look at my PNG, I'm more of an hourglass shape. I'm more of an hourglass shape. Whereas with my character sheet, I'm more of a pear shape. Because I was exaggerating hips, but like I'm more of an hourglass shape if we're gonna be for real.
reside in me, coinciding together, fellowshipping as one to assist me in being a bad bitch as much as.
Okay, this will do. I'm probably gonna make some minor adjustments to like the main mannequin and like adjust to my style because there's some things. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Cause some things about my style has changed and to something that I like more. Oh, who followed? Potential poltergeist. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to chat. Right now we're jamming and I'm drawing and I'm just talking about like plans and stuff. You're gonna be hearing big things are coming, but don't ask me when they are. Cause don't. Like it's hard to promote myself because I would have something in plan and then life happens and it doesn't work out. So I'll my best way of promoting myself is just posting whips and saying, hey, this thing is being worked on. Here's a whip. No, there is no release date. Don't tell me shit. Like, you won't get a release date until it's done. So I'm making all of these damn... Oh, I should have deleted all of these, actually. Like, I should have deleted the body. That's fine. Laying down because I have to work pretty early tomorrow. Okay. Relax. We're pretty much chill. Usually my art streams are chill. It's only when I'm gaming that it's chaotic. Although I was pretty low energy yesterday. I had a headache. I did a collab with Zivia Nocturne and Hangaku because we were playing Overcooked 2. But I had a headache like near the end of it because I wasn't as hyped as I would have been, but I need to resketch the body real quick. It's like this is have work at 7 but have to get up at 6 to get ready. What time is it where you are? Homie, go to sleep, actually. Like, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I also, it's 8:30. Okay. Go to bed at least 10. Cause I wish the hell I would. Like, I appreciate you coming to stream, but if it's time for you to sleep, go to sleep. Do not make me the reason why you can't go to work. No, like, seriously, don't. Actually, I will yell at you. But thank you for coming. I hope you relax. Earlier in the stream, we were just talking about, like, current events. just current event shenanigans, like the stuff that's been going on with V Shoujo. I talked about the censorship that's been going on with Ichio, and it's a shame because, like, okay, one thing that I don't elaborate on, like, yes, I be talking a lot of crap about like content moderation and stuff, and it's partially because of like personal experience and whatnot. I realize that the internet really does not care about minorities, and even with internet spaces that don't care, that are like anti-censorship, they still end up censoring minorities. So that's why whenever people complain about censorship, I'm just like, you're harming marginalized people either way, so why should I give a fuck? But because like, yeah, a platform like Archive of Our Own could say that they're like anti-censorship, but because they're protecting minority expression, but at the same time you allow Nazis on the site, and I feel like that's also like unsafe for minorities. But what do I know? But like, I am somebody who does support like NSFW art and stuff, partially because I'm a horror fan, and partially because I do like lewd art. Sometimes I do like to see dick and balls on the internet. It's just I just don't support like uninhibited free speech, because I know how speech is weaponized against people like me and stuff. But we talked about that, and then I've just been rambling about random stuff, whether that's like work or music, because I was talking about how some of the people that I get into music wise, a lot of it has been through performances like the Tiny Desk concert. Because since we were talking about censorship, I was talking about like the defunding of PBS and NPR, right? And NPR is the news channel, is like the news platform that does the Tiny Desk concerts. Like, one of the most famous and recent Tiny Desk performances that they've done was with the rap group Clips and stuff, because they just released a new album. And I was talking about how there are some artists where I like their live performance recording compared to their like actual recording. And I mentioned Doechii because I love her stuff. I've loved her stuff ever since Spooky Coochie, when it came out on Halloween in 2019. And that was before Yucky Blucky Fruitcake, which is what got most people onto her, right? That's what got most people into her. So I was like a year early. And I was talking about like her progression as an artist from there. Yeah, I guess everything has its pros and cons. Even if someone is trying to do good, there's always going to be downsides. Sometimes I feel like some people aren't trying to do good, because, like, to me, making an environment where anybody can say any and everything, I don't trust you, because it's just like, what do you mean there shouldn't be limits to what people can say? Because some people say some really shitty things. I think that like, some people are naive about it, because I'm not going to say that the average person is being nefarious whenever they promote something. It's more like the context of it and the execution. And the execution, like, a lot of stuff is trial and error. It just depends. One person that I talked to, there's like a friend of mine named Cuddles. Luna knows him. We were talking about like censorship and stuff, and he says that a better word to use is like maybe community taboos, because how he defines censorship is like it requires a centralized power to execute it. And I was arguing against that because like people a lot of time when talking about censorship, people don't use it in that particular way. Because one thing that I noticed about Cuddles, like he has a very specified language whenever he talks about things like policy and stuff, and I'm just like, bro, that's not how other people be using it though. So what do you mean? And sometimes whenever we talk about these things, we always have to ask each other, what do you mean? But talking about taboo, because that's something that's existed before, say, centralization, and that's something that can be community exclusive and doesn't require like a state or a corporation to enforce.
You can suck my oh yeah.
And we
Oh yeah, take care of them chops.
and we
Yes,
agreed
they
that.
get pop.
So we agreed on that. But talking about liking people's recordings, specifically when it comes to Doechii, I like her Jimmy Fallon performance of Persuasive more than the actual Persuasive. Like I like the bass line. And funny enough, like when it came to Persuasive, I always get it confused. Like when I first saw Persuasive, Doechii looked like so different. As in because of like the shades and the hair that she was wearing and like the bodysuit she was wearing. I thought she was Brie Runway. For those who don't know, Brie Runway is a UK pop star. She's Ghanaian, but she lives in the UK. And I like a lot of her stuff as well. Like one of my favorite OCs that I draw, not a lot, but like I've drawn her a couple of times. I draw her way more than my other OCs. Like she has almost as much art as myself. Although I need to draw more often. You ever feel like a failure as a creator because you won't be creating as much as you need to? And then I realize, and then I have to remind myself I don't get paid to do this shit. So I'll be fine. I'll get over it. But bass, one of my OCs, like one of the inspirations, you know those memes where it's like list the number of characters that you base this OC off of. I didn't like I base my OC off of some characters, but there's like more say celebrity inspirations in terms of like partially appearance, but like the appearance is like very minimal, to be honest, because Nima looks like very different from my inspirations, but from my celebrity inspirations, and also from like the other stuff. It's more like personality wise, and physical mannerisms, like how she carries herself. I base Nima off of Naomi Campbell, Dominique Jackson, Brie Runway, and I think those are all of the real, and Eartha Kitt. Like those are all of the real life people that I based her off of. And then in terms of fictional characters, I based her off of Cruella from 101 Dalmatians, specifically the Glenn Close version, but also some of the mannerisms of like the animated Cruella. I did not bring in Emma Watson's version because I don't consider Emma Watson's versions to be legitimate. Not because of her acting or anything. I don't have a problem with her acting. I just don't like the writing of the live action Cruella. Like I'm bored of like these villain origin stories, and it's just like, oh, they're not actually a bad guy, guys. They're just misunderstood. Like I feel like Joker, technically Maleficent has done some damage when it comes to certain things. Like I understand wanting, like, and it's sad because like Maleficent is one of the better live action versions of Disney films. I like that they were just trying to depict Maleficent as like a fae who was wrong and stuff, because without the, even though the wing scene I felt was just unnecessary because of like the allegory it was trying to put in, and I'm like, no, don't do that. But the Cruella film, even though she's not a manic pixie dream girl, because that's like a very specific trope, it's like first cousins with it. Like, oh, she's not a villain, she's just quirky and misunderstood. And then like them trying to use punk motifs, even though there's nothing punk about Cruella. Like, yes, she's shitting on a witch person, but like she's trying to surpass that rich person. She's not trying to dismantle the system where rich people mistreat folks. And I'm like very particular when it comes to narratives like that. Like, I'm picky. But I do like some of the outfits in there. She did serve. It's just she's not Cruella, and I don't have to accept it. And that's how I feel about that. I'm like Forrest Gump, and that's all I have to say about that. But Nema is based off of Cruella, animated in Glenn Close. She's based off of Sam from Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, because there's some inspiration with that. And then she's also based off of a Vivinos music video. I can't remember. It was like something about a dream. It's a short about this one girl who's like friends with another girl, and they're both going to fashion school together. And one of the girls ended up winning a fashion competition, while the other lost because like her work was sabotaged. So it like fast forwards to the future where one of the friends was like this big top designer, and she's on billboards and shit, while the girl whose artwork was sabotaged, she's like working at a Kobini, and she's on her way home, and she sees her design on a billboard. So like her friend stole it. Her former friend stole it, because they're not friends anymore. Like after she won, she just stops talking to her. And that's when she figures out that her friend like sabotaged her work, and she's like thinking about what could have been and all this other kind of stuff. And because of the sheer shock, she's not like paying attention to the road, so she gets hit by a bus. That wasn't the first video that I saw from Vivinos, but that's like one of my more favorite videos from Vivinos, which is why Vivinos actually pisses me off as a creator, because of Alien Stage. For those who don't know, Alien Stage is an animated series of music videos by, I think, Korean creator. I think she's Korean. She has a combination of Japanese and Korean content, so she's likely one of the two, or both. I don't know. I don't go here like that, and I don't think I care to figure it out because I don't like her. I don't like her now. Alien Stage is this series where in the far future, Earth was taken over by aliens, and humans are pretty much pets. And there's this competition called Alien Stage where humans sing in duos, and the one who gets the most points gets to the next round, and the one who gets the least amount of points in the performance, they get disposed of. And they get disposed of, and it goes over the different perspectives of the contestants, because like they all grow up together in this compound where they're taught how to sing and perform and stuff. So they're like bred to be entertainment in a way. Like they're genetically engineered to be entertainment, some of these kids, and others are like donated or some shit. So a variety of backgrounds. And I really liked it because it's a Vivinos story. Because like what I like about Vivinos is she's partially a horror creator because a lot of what she makes is sapphic horror content. Because like I think the first video that I saw from her was Chili Tilly Boom, which is like dealing with sacrificial brides and stuff. And then one of the more popular things that she was known for before Alien Stage was the Pink Bitch Club, which is like this group of girls who are into different fashion subcultures, and the leader of the group, like these girls all have sad backgrounds, and then the leader of the group, Michigo, she like picks them up at their lowest, and she's just like, want to join my fashion club, but then there's some sinister stuff going on. Yeah. Hey Cuddles, I actually talked about you earlier. It was good things. I wouldn't shit talk about you on stream. Pretty much I was talking about differences in language. But yes, I am tracing a 3D model because sometimes I don't wanna draw from scratch. And not to mention, I can still add necessary adjustments and stuff. I should have labeled this left hand. I am updating, or I'm making new artwork because I should have made new artwork. I should have made a bunch of artwork before I became a VTuber. But I didn't think that I was going to be doing this long. So now that I decided that I'm going to be doing VTubing personally, I realized, damn, I have to have artwork to promote myself. And damn, I'm not balling like that financially. So I have to make all of this shit by myself. So I'm just eating my struggles, but we'll see. And then some of the topics that we were talking about before you came in, I was talking about VShojo, which was that VTuber agency that's under fire for like embezzling funds or doing a pod. I don't know what it's some kind of scam. They were supposed to be donating to a charity, and they ended up spending that money on something else, even though they publicly made a promise. So they're being yelled at, and there may be a class action lawsuit. Yeah, it was charity fraud. And there might be a class action lawsuit because a bunch of talent has come out about not being paid for like several months. One thing that I'm interested in, right, because like this didn't just happen in the US, like it's based in the US, but they have a Japanese branch, and Japanese talent was getting screwed over as well. So like whenever there's like cases like these, would they have to process in the US first and then go to Japan to do the case? Or would the court cases be virtual if they're going on simultaneously for accessibility? And then we're listening to R&B versus the usual rather than the usual. We're listening to Duran Bernard rather than the usual city pop and future funk, because I was talking about different artists that I got introduced to through NPR, because we were talking about censorship in general and like the defunding of NPR, and like there were a lot of artists that I got introduced through NPR, like through the Tiny Desk concert. Is that Erica? Oh, it's Audio Oasis. Do I know this person? I think I've heard her music before. I have! Okay, so Audio Oasis, how I heard her is through Colors. Colors is a channel that's known for for stuff like Tiny Desk Concert, but it's not like a full on concert. It's like a specific, like they're known for the really good color schemes and stuff. And honestly, at some point, I want to like color drop from a performance. At some point, man, I keep going in and out of it. I had a long ass day. Poltergeist, go to sleep. I won't be mad. Like, thank you for the view. I appreciate it. Plus, you got work in the. Plus, you gotta go to work early. Like, go to sleep. Like, I'm probably gonna end at 2:30. It's 4:47. I might end this at 10 o'clock. Because I have a rule where I don't stream for more than 3 hours, anyways. Like, I'm not a voice actor, but I know that most voice actors, they don't work for more than 4 hours a day. Moon Channel might do a vid on vtuber. I know they're a lawyer. They speak on East Asian culture. What other channel did? I think it's like Legal Mindset, because apparently he covers a lot of like digital content. Because I think he's been. I don't follow him. Let's follow him sleeping more so spacing out. I'll do what you feel like doing. But so now I gotta rearrange. Cause like I've already designed the outfits. I never got past the sketching stage because of other things coming up. So now I just gotta adjust where everything goes.
Maybe we took it too far. Both said something we didn't mean. I didn't mean.
But Legal Mindset did like 2 videos on it, and he talked about possible routes that vtuber could go.
Be honest, babe. Don't lie to me. Oh, baby.
I know at least there's gonna be a.
Said it hurts to think you don't need me, but I do.
I should change the hand.
We're too far gone, please say it ain't so.
No, I should redo the bottom or make some adjustments. It's too stiff. This is one of the downsides of using a 3D model, because most of the time whenever I use a 3D model, it's mostly for hands. So what I'm gonna do is copy this, and then I'm gonna filter and blur. Let's see, I gotta rasterize, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. So like when you do a blur, it makes you not like trace it so like so accurate, and it makes you a little bit more loose with it. We're keeping the head though, because I did a good job on that. Doesn't help that I live alone as soon as my grandparents could get a flight here is next in. Finally got home from the hospital on Tuesday and I had time adjusting. I mean, what do you mean it doesn't help? Is it that they're going to be noisy or something, or aren't they supposed to be helping you out since you just got out of the hospital? that you had to go through that. I hope that you have a decent wheelchair, like something that's like one that you could be independent with. So you don't have to like depend on people rolling you around. They remind me of Beastie Boys, but maybe I'm stereotyping white rappers. To be honest, like, are there really a lot of mainstream white rappers? Like the only ones that I can think of is Beastie Boys, Vanilla Ice, Eminem, technically Rage Against the Machine, even though they were a rock group, but they were like rap rock. Yeah, I currently just have the one I got from the hospital, so it's not great, but it's useful. Well, I hope you get a better one. Then your arm's gonna be strong as fuck. Like, you go, Joe Swanson, without the depression. Remember when Joe Swanson used to not have depression on Family Guy? Like,
And now for something completely different.
it's kind of sad how some of the adult animations, like, it's not all of them, but like with Family Guy specifically, it's just like full of despair a lot. Because like the whole thing with Joe as a character is that, yeah, he's disabled, but he lives like a fulfilling life and stuff, and he's very capable. But like the joke is like the absurdity of his capability. Like it's like that one scene in what was it? Orange is the New Black, and how they were trying to do a Beyond Scared Straight thing, and there was like a girl who was in a wheelchair, and it's just like, what you in here for? You know what they do to people with wheelchairs? And she was just like, yeah, I was gang banging. And it was just like they assumed that because I was in a wheelchair that I couldn't do that shit, but I was robbing niggas, and I'm like, damn. Yeah, I need to wait for the referral for PT to go through. Okay, I hope that goes well. But no, Joe used to have some fucking self-esteem, and his life used to be awesome, and now it's just like my wife wants to kill me, and I've just succumbed to my fate. And there's like a lot of resentment and shit. And that sucks. No, the current song that I really like by is "What's Up." So like it's with JPEG Mafia. I really like that one. Because I like the original song, What's Up, What's Up. This is due to nerve damage. They can't do anything to reverse it, but can keep it from getting worse and work on increasing the strain in my upper body so I can get around it. So that's good. And then maybe consider, what is it? Maybe consider, is it Pilots? You know, there was like a broader conversation about like how Pilots is like associated with like rich white women and stuff. It's kind of sad how certain things that are like made for the general public get co-opted by like elites and shit, because like Pilots was something that was made for people who are bedbound and sick to still give them exercise and like prevent muscle atrophy and stuff. But I don't know what you have available, and I don't know what you need, because I'm not like here to give medical advice and stuff, but I do know with some folks that deal with like I know that some people who deal with mobility issues, they do Pilots to, you know, to maintain physical health while dealing with those mobility issues. And it also helps for like people with depression, because it's just like, oh, you're bed rotting and stuff. maybe to get active, to eventually get you out of bed, do pilots and other stuff. But you do what's good for you. Also, there's an ad. Keep up with celebrities that much. You don't have to. Or at least I don't actively have to keep up with celebrities to find out certain things. Because, like, I'm either around people who do, or I'm in the same spaces as them, and if they're famous enough, then you end up finding out through osmosis. But because Nicki Minaj and SZA are such popular um, public figures, and I'm in a space full of black, queer, and feminine people, I was seeing their conversation happen in real time. Because everybody and their mom was like boosting and reposting and shit. Because you know that's how algorithms work. But To be honest, consider getting thigh highs just so I don't have to deal with pants. I think Hulk Hogan took up a lot of the news space. Well, yeah, because Hulk Hogan, he died today, whereas that fight between SZA and Nicki Minaj, that happened maybe a week and a half ago. I just remembered because like SZA was mentioned in the song, and I was just like, oh yeah, she was beefing with Nicki Minaj. It was funny because she was like, my parents are healthy, and I sell out in stadiums. And from what I know, I do know that Nicki Minaj's dad is dead, which is why she needs to stop going after people's parents, because it's just like, your dad got hit by a car, and if somebody wanted to be really terrible, I don't know, they'd be calling him alligator back or something. Oh yeah, this song is from Tyler's newest album, because I do follow him on Spotify, and I like this album. Pretty much the theme, like, it's called Don't Tap the Screen, Don't Tap the Glass, and insert top clip of Tele Katara, that's why your mama dead. Yeah. But you know, people forget that Katara was one of the quickest ones with the roast. Like, remember that the sky is beautiful tonight, Toph. It's a shame that you can't see it. Like, sometimes the Avatar fandom jokes be funny, but sometimes I hate how some of the jokes be out of character. Like, I like a joke anyways, but sometimes I like a joke more when it's in character, because like, you're making use of what you have. Wait, wasn't it Zuko that said that's why your mama dead? And that nigga was saying because he's edgy, and it's just like, bitch, your mama left you, and your daddy don't like you. Like, nigga, who in your family wants you? All up in Katara's face, cause you not want it anywhere, nigga. Like, even your goth girlfriend left you in the comics. Like, damn, you're sorry. Yeah, she's pretty cruel. Like with Azula, she be doing those verbose roasts. Like, she'll give a whole speech and inspire other people to go off on you right after. Heard the word Avatar and remembered how my bestie started calling me Jake Sully the day after I got home. Damn. Oh yeah, he couldn't walk, couldn't he? Damn. At least you got a good laugh out of it. Poltergeist, if we become besties, I'm gonna just find a list of fictional wheelchair people to call you. I'm gonna call you Charles Xavier. I'm gonna call you that dude with the glasses from Scary Movie, who ended up going to be the manager of Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like, you know, that specific actor and the character that he played. Who else? Name another famous fiction. We need more wheelchair representation. I'm gonna call you that one wheelchair kid from Extreme Ghostbusters. Remember when the 80s was like the beginning of like cartoon wokeness? Because what, they had a dude in a wheelchair, they had a black kid, a Mexican, and maybe an Asian. It's been a while. Like, it was silence and she just went, you know, you could do it in the chair, meals on. Oh my god. Are you planning on getting like covers on? Because I've seen some folks like put covers on their wheels. I don't know if they have like a permanent cover or if they switch them out. But, like some people decorate their wheelchairs. I know that if you get like a like if your wheelchair has a handle on it, consider getting a handle on the back and putting some spikes on it because people be weird about folks and messing with their disability aids. It's like some people are weird. Like if somebody be weird to you, run their foot over. Shit. Also, you are obligated to learn how to pop a wheelie. One thing that is never beneath me is tracing hands. We don't got time for that shit. And by not time, it's more like no patience. I need a draw feed. I don't need a draw feed, actually. I said I was supposed to stop streaming at 10 o'clock. We're stopping stream, guys. We're being responsible. Can't with the hospital chair, but once I get a custom chair, definitely gonna customize the shit out of it. Also, definitely get a handle. Yeah, because people be so fucking weird. It's annoying. Like, leave people the hell alone. But, damn, just as the music started to turn up, I have to leave. But it's been a while since I've had a stream this long. And to be honest, I need to stream more consistently. It's just life been lifing. But, if y'all want to see me, I'm more active on, like, Blue Sky and Twitter. Beware of my Twitter, though. I do be talking a lot of shit. Nobody is more chronically online than somebody with an office job. Yes, I am employed and I am responsible, but I work an office job. But if someone tries to touch my chair, I'm instantly rolling over their toes. Good. Because who the hell do you think you are? Get tired. But, stay tuned for, like, new graphics and stuff. They'll be slow and coming. But they'll be there. But, thanks for coming. Before you leave, we're gonna try to raid somebody. Give me a moment. I gotta find who to raid and say hi to. It's a creator dashboard. And then we'll leave. Okay, CC is streaming. She's playing Final Fantasy. So if you're into that, then come in. Well, you're gonna come in anyway. But go say hi. Invalid username. Come on.